Been like a really interesting week this week because not much has kind of gone to plan and that's it. Yeah, as I was saying earlier, it's been a really interesting week this week because I can never find the scoop. The scoop is always buried. It doesn't matter how many times I've done this, the scoop is always buried. Been an interesting week because I've been rough as fuck. Yeah, I've been really unwell this week. I've been more or less bedridden for the last 3 days. Last time I was properly ill was about 2 years ago. I do not get ill very often. So I was hating life, I'm not gonna lie. It was one of those illnesses, right? So it's like, you'd be in bed, and you'd be sweating like freaking crazy. At the same time, you were freezing cold. But yeah, I thought, do you know what, maybe I shouldn't do a YouTube video this week. But then I was like, well, this is just a good lesson, you know? This is a good example of, I could have very easily just pressed the fuck it button, but I didn't. You know, you have a choice. You can either press that button and come off the plan, or you can treat it as a hurdle and instead be like, right, well, what can I do? What are the variables I can control and what are the things I can't? So for example, I still more or less ate my protein, hit those targets, that sort of thing, but obviously I was a bit too unwell to train. So I've had a few days off work, I've had a few days off training. Been the worst few days of my life. Everyone always says, right, it's man flu. You're just over exaggerating. It's not man flu. It's not my fault I'm dying from a cold. But anyway, first session back, and I'm looking forward to it. We're doing a pull session today. I'm looking forward to taking you through what I do, how I pull. But no, I'm not 100%, but I'm still kind of my old happy, cheery old self. Let's do this. It's always like so late when I'm eating. I don't know what it is, like, you know, the day's just gone. It's 10:30. They always say that as you get older, time just seems to go so much quicker. And I think they might be right, you know. I think they might be right. Maybe I'm just getting old. But anyway, workout's done. The day's more or less done. I've had a really busy one today because I feel like I'm catching up, you know, catching up on after being ill, and I wanted to get a lot done today, which I have. But now it's dinner time! So this is actually my chopping board. This is what is left because I keep washing it, and apparently you're not supposed to wash it, and this is what happens to it when it gets washed for too many times. But no, it's not a spanker. But we have something super easy for dinner tonight because, in my opinion, not everything has to be super fancy when it comes to eating healthy. I think simple foods can actually be extremely underrated. I think, really, to not overcomplicate things, meals should be relatively simple most of the time. I think it's really easy to overcomplicate nutrition. Like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with eating really good fancy meals that have like 20 plus ingredients in. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, I'm all for that, it's delicious. But how often can we realistically do that for? Like, some of us, like, you know, when you got your everyday life, you got work, you got family, etc., it's not always possible to spend hours in the kitchen. And that's why I think these sort of meals have their place. But regardless of how you want to do your nutrition plan, because despite what people might think, there is no wrong answer. It is mostly trial and error. You do have to take in consideration your likes and dislikes, your practicality, you know, how your day-to-day life is. You can't always follow like top-end influencers thinking that their diet is going to work for you. Sometimes you've got to go out there and explore and find the methods that suit you the most. One thing has got to be certain in order to stay consistent with reaching your goals and in day-to-day life in general, and that is that food should bring you joy. Even if you're dieting, food should bring you joy. And there are two types of joy when it comes to food. You have the obvious one, because it's fucking delicious. It's yummy. You know, perhaps you're making memories. You know, you're at a wedding, you're at your kid's birthday party, you're at your friend's house, whatever. You're eating food because you're enjoying it, because it tastes good, it's making you feel good. Fucking onion, it's gonna make me cry, I know it. I've got sensitive eyes anyway. But onion just tips it over the edge, man. But the other type of joy is when you are eating food because it's in line with your goals. It's in line with the person that you want to be and the goals that you want to achieve. So yeah, it's not all sweet stuff and gourmet meals, etc. But it should still bring you joy because it's healthy and it should be making you feel good. And also because you are eating the foods, you are doing the things that you said you were going to do. It's kind of like you are following the promise that you set yourself. And you should be proud of yourself. You know, you should be proud of yourself for eating healthy more regularly or eating food that's more in line with your goals more consistently. So yeah, that in itself should make you feel happy. It should bring you joy. And you should look at it like that. Instead of going, oh, I'm dieting again, you don't have to feel that way. You can instead turn it on its head and be like, do you know what? I'm enjoying this process. I'm enjoying eating healthy. I'm enjoying how it's making me feel. And I'm also enjoying the fact that I've got the balance so right that I can still go out with my friends and my family and have a great time and make some amazing memories. That is what life's all about. You certainly don't have to give it all up. You just have to get the balance right. And sometimes that takes a bit of time to master. If I was a fruit or vegetable, I had to pick one that I was, I'd be this one. I'd be a sweet potato. But not you, not you. Nah, you there. You'd be a cucumber. Yeah? You into that?
Out of pocket for that shit.
But yeah, there you go. So that's not bad. Like I said, this is a very simple recipe and it only took me 10 minutes. It literally took me 10 minutes. Why are you tilting your head at 10 minutes? Are you in denial that it only took 10 minutes? But just to make this very clear, I'm not a cook. Alright, I'm not claiming to know what I'm doing with this because I have come a long way. I mean, when I first started, my first cut, I'm not gonna lie, was 5 scrambled eggs and like spinach and cheese, and then for the other meals I literally just had chicken and cheese and broccoli, and that was it, and a couple of protein shakes throughout the day. That was my first experience. And I actually cooked it in a pan that had no handle. Literally, that's how broke I was at the start. But no, not claiming to be a good cook by any means, because I'm not. But I do genuinely believe that simplicity is best when it comes to dieting, because it's very easy to overcomplicate these things. But I'm gonna eat this, and then we're gonna get going. Got some content to do. So I've just finished for the night, recorded the next episode for the gaming channel, and I'm not gonna lie, right? You're all out here setting unrealistic body goals. You know, you're picking like Goku or, I don't know, fucking Superman or something. If you're gonna pick it right. The zebra from freaking Donkey Kong is jacked. Who would want to look like this guy? But I tell you what, I absolutely love making content. I do. It brings me so much joy, man. And that is just something you gotta do with your life. You know, never stop doing the things that just put a bit of fire in your heart, you know? Never stop doing the things that just bring you joy, bring you happiness. But got the fun part now, got the editing to do now. So I'm gonna go walk Keen and then start that, I suppose. It's gonna be a long night. However, I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. We are now coming up to week 2 of my cut. Other than the illness, feeling pretty good so far. I would like to finish on this note though, and just say that if you ever feel like you want to do something like this, whether it be a weight loss journey, you want to get into the gym, or you know, if you want to pursue like a career or like your own channel, for example, then just do it. Just start. One thing that's worth noting is the hero that moves mountains starts by moving small stones. You know, if you want to go to the gym but you're feeling a little nervous but you want to do some sort of workout, then you can start by doing press-ups at home. You know, you might want to start eating healthier, but the last time you tried it, you went too strict, and then, you know, maybe you crashed later on and felt like you failed, which you haven't, by the way. You gave it a go. But you could always start by making small, gradual changes, changing the breakfast, maybe planning your meals, starting off small, because there's nothing wrong with going at a pace that suits you. This isn't someone else's sprint. You're not trying to get to the finish line before someone else. You're just trying to start the journey. So hang on to that, okay? The hero that moves mountains starts by moving small stones. You know, you deserve it. You deserve to look the way you want to look, live the life you want to live. Don't let your mind trick yourself into telling you otherwise. You know, if you ever feel like you're not deserving of something like that, I always like, you ever seen Kung Fu Panda? If you haven't, there's something wrong with you, sorry. But the dad at the end, when he was talking about the secret ingredient soup and it ended up being nothing, you know, he said that in order to make something special, you just have to believe it's special. How nice is that? That's a good way to end the video. I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really, really hope that you are pursuing that best life, pursuing your dreams. And I'd love to hear all about it. Just take care of yourselves, my friends. Love you all.